"Good afternoon, Mr. Taylor," said the day manager as a sandy blonde man in his early 30s entered the eating establishment where he worked. "Why must she be so formal? We've known each other going on 5 years now." He was used to being called by his first name, the one in his name tag, Randal. That or, "Hey you!" He hated the hey youers. Randal dutifully nodded and mumbled a half-hearted greeting to the DM before proceeding into the changing room. He needed to get out of these sweaty clothes. Skyrocketing fuel prices had forced him to sell his car, buy a bike, and use a lot more public transportation, but physical exertion forced the necessity of changing clothes before his shift. He stood in front of a full-length mirror, his hands going through the motions, assembling his uniform, tightening his tie, straightening his name tag. His attention was fixed upon his face in the mirror as he put on what he affectionately termed his mask. People could ask the most ridiculous, asinine questions, and he wouldn't bat an eyelash. Nothing could penetrate his mask, he told himself. Randal fancied himself an actor of sorts, portraying different roles, personae, depending on how he had gauged a particular customer. Sometimes he would be witty and energetic, especially with the ladies. Other times he would play the tired, hard worker, forging on in perseverance. It all depended on his assessment of the customer and what their expected reaction might be. Whatever the particulars, his goal was the same. Tips. With practically all his standard wages gone to bills and basic subsistence, tips were how he made what little petty cash he could. He was reasonably good at it, too. Good with people, both engaging and in interacting with them. Randal had a boyish charm, which many found endearing. He was good at reading people, and seemed to simply know which persona to use on them. It was one of the reasons he was one of the only human servers left on the staff. There were always those customers who preferred a human face to gleaming metal and plastic, and it was this fact that kept him employed. Some diners outright refused robo-servers, leaving the company little choice in the matter. Randal frowned critically at himself in the mirror. His hairline was beginning to recede, detracting from his apparently youthful appearance. His friends told him it wasn't noticeable, but he wasn't sure if they truly couldn't tell or if they were just being kind. He had spent a lot of time looking at his own face over the years, practicing his expressions, and thus noticed even the most minuscule changes. The lines of his face were becoming more defined, like maturity peeking out through his boyish features. He needed dental work from smoking and eating too many sugary confections, but of course this job provided no medical benefits of any kind, and the sparsity of his take-home pay left him in the perpetual pain of oral infection. These things had been bothering him more and more lately, as he felt his age catching up with him. That and his seeming lack of substantial accomplishment in life. He squirmed at the thought of another 5 years in this establishment silently passing him by, with very little to show for it. His appearance was an integral part of his mask, and any degradation of that face, to his mind, constituted a direct threat to his ability to maintain the status quo. A relatively handsome man, easy to get along with, Randal feared that he was losing his edge. He went through the final checks. His pants were ironed, his tie and tag were straight, his mask was intact. He popped a breath mint into his mouth, ignoring the pain in his wisdom tooth, or what was left of it, rather. He walked out to the register and clocked in for his shift, shaking these thoughts from his mind. With a deep breath, he continued out onto the floor to the host's podium, and grabbed up his tablet. Still 20 minutes until dinner rush, and Randal could see that he already had a table. He studied the guests as he approached them, an overweight, middle-aged couple with an obese relative. Randal could not immediately tell which of the couple the third was related to. They all looked so much alike. Maybe they're all siblings, then. No. The way the couple looked at each other, clearly married, albeit unhappily. He would need to find out more through conversation before deciding on a persona to embody with them. "How are you folks doing this evening?" Randal asked, a smile painted on his mask, making sure to make eye contact as he handed them their menus. "Like crap!" The less overweight of the two women snapped. "Oh, she's angry," Randal thought, discarding the notion of playing new guy learning the ropes. He proceeded with his introduction and listed off the night's specials, adding in a sing-song tone, "You can order whenever you're ready," in a vain attempt to lighten the mood. "We're ready now," the woman blurted, looking as if she just discovered a fly in her soup. "We want 3 of your triple gutbuster burgers with bacon and ham." "And ham?" "A large order of your chili fries, nachos, 3 baked potatoes, or rotisserie-style chicken, and an extra large side of ranch dressing with coffee cake, cheesecake, and chocolate pie for dessert." Randal was scribbling furiously on his tablet, trying to keep up, thankful for the shorthand he'd learned as a necessity working here. "And what would you like to drink?" he asked, dripping sweetness and desperately attempting not to laugh. "Diet Coke!" the woman spat back without missing a beat. Randal could barely contain himself. The woman seemed grumpy enough as it was, and laughing in her face would only serve to aggravate her further. He tried to think seriously. Obviously, he was not connecting with these people. Perhaps he would be better off attempting to plumb the object of her frustration, seeking to find some supposed common ground upon which to relate to them. Another look at the woman's glowering expression told him this endeavor would be fruitless. Sometimes there was simply nothing one could do to bridge the gap. "I'll have your drinks out to you in a moment," Randal managed. He whirled away before they could speak and fled to the kitchen, nearly colliding with a robo-server coming out of the door there too. Hi everybody, John Hammond here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you all for watching my videos and encourage everyone to share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have questions or constructive criticism, let me know down in the comments. Be sure to check me out on Patreon, that's a new thing. Next week we'll be meeting a police detective who's feeling rather outdated as he trains his new robotic replacement. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I saw it all around, never thought that I could be affected. Thought that we'd be last to go. It is so strange the way things turn. Drove the night to my old home, the place where I was born, by the lakeside. As daylight broke, I saw the earth. The trees had burned down to the ground.